Today I'm making a big soup. I'm just starting that by frying off some onions in some oil. I'm just chopping the thick edge off these broccoli stalks, so I'll have the inside to go into the soup. That was from a separate stalk, and some of the leafy greens. Then I've got these garlic scapes, so they'll add a garlicky flavour. A couple of bits of broccoli that came off the top of the head of this one. A carrot, it's a bit sorry looking, but I think it will be okay. Red pepper, and I'm just going to do the tops of this celery because I want to save the rest. And then I've got chickpeas and tomato, and I'm also going to add vegetable stock cube into there, and probably some herbs too. So we're just going to finish dicing this and get it all in the pan. So to the onions I've added the tomatoes, oregano, cumin in there as well, and a stock cube. I've just turned the heat off so I can film this because it was starting to boil up a bit. And then I'm going to add all the vegetables that I've diced into here as well. So there's 1 can of tomatoes, and then there's 1 can of water. I've got all the veggies in there now. I've actually got a little bit of sweet corn, but I'm not going to put that in till closer to the end because it just disintegrates and goes mushy. I might add a bit more liquid to this, but for now I'm just going to let it cook down and see how it goes. Because a lot of liquid will come out of the veg that's already in there. I haven't added any more water to the soup. It's all good and ready to go now. I'm just stirring in that last bit of sweet corn. So this is the soup that we're having. There's still a little bit left if we want more, or some leftovers for the freezer. We're having it with crackers, and I'm actually going to put some bean sprouts. I've got some bean sprouts left over here. They need eating today, so I thought they might give it a bit of crunch, but it is a bit of a weird one to go on top of soup. The recipe that I'm making tonight is this mushroom dish. I'm actually using a different type of mushrooms for it though, but we've had it before and it's pretty nice. It's from this like pregnancy book. I've been trying to study up on pregnancy words. It's quite difficult, but the recipes in it, like every couple of months they give you different recipes that are good for the stage that you're at of pregnancy. This one is from quite early on actually, but it's a good recipe. I've just put my soba noodles into the pan. I've actually got 2 different types. One takes 5 minutes to cook and one takes 10 minutes. So I've just got the 5-minute ones in there now. I've already cooked the 10-minute ones. I should have done 5 minutes and then put them both in together, but never mind, they're cooking now, and it gets these 2 packets out of the cupboard, which I'm very pleased about. So I'm actually going quite a bit off the recipe here. It's roughly the bones of the recipe. So I'm using these oyster mushrooms. The recipe calls for shimeji and shiitake, and then it also calls for peas, but I've got some garlic scape and I'm going to do it with leek as well. I'm just running the noodles under cold water, but I kept back the liquid because I just have to rehydrate this wakame, which is seaweed. It just takes a few minutes in there. There's no heat on it, so I thought rather than boiling some more water, I just put it into the soba water. You don't actually need very much of this because it really grows. We actually went to a really nice soba restaurant last summer, and they, at the end of the meal after you finish, they brought the stock that the soba had been cooked in out, and you put it in with your rice, which seemed really unusual, but it had a really nice flavour to it. I'm not sure if I've got any pictures of that visit, but if I have, I will drop them in now. Remember, it was a day that I had intended to film, but Natasha wasn't in a very good mood and it was quite a fancy place, maybe not the best place to take children in hindsight, but we were there at lunchtime. And actually they did this thing in our city where they sent money. It's similar to the like Eat Out to Help Out in the UK. They did like vouchers for local restaurants, so we used our vouchers that we got there and had a meal that we wouldn't normally have gone for by topping it up with the vouchers. Really, really tasty. A big like open fire and stuff, although that wasn't on, it was the middle of summer, we were still sitting around it. Anyway, if I've got any clips, I'll put them in now. Okay, I'm back to tonight's dinner. So the wakame has grown really big. I'm just putting a little bit of that in the bottom of each of our bowls. So here's where I'm going a bit off the recipe. It calls for olive oil. I'm using sesame oil and I'm frying this stuff. It's going to go into a stock, but I just like the onions with a bit of colour on them first. So into this pan I'm also adding a teaspoon of cooking sake, and then I'm adding this stock, which is a fish-based stock, and the recipe calls for 2 cups of water and 1 cup of this, but this bottle is actually really concentrated, so I'm going to have to check the ratios for diluting it down because it's not as much as a cup. Okay, Okay, this is our dinner for tonight. Natasha's got less of the stock, and I've actually got noodles left over, but it's just a bit difficult to fit them all into the bowl. And I put it on top of it for some punch, this 7 spice, which is like a mix of chilies. It's really nice. That's our mushroom soba noodles tonight. It's pancake day today, so tonight for dinner I'm going to do toad in the hole. I've just warming up the oven and the oil. And then in the batter there's 2 eggs, 70 grams of flour and 100 mils of milk. This is half what I used to make when I was working in a kitchen and doing like big roasts. I think it'll be enough for the 2 of us. I'm just not sure if it'll be enough for that tray that I'm using, but it's the only one that I've got suitable for the oven. You whisk that up until it's free from all the lumps, and then I'm going to pour it back into this measuring jug. That makes it a bit easier then to pour into the hot oil. You have a bit more control over it. I'm serving this with sausages, these ones. You can pre-brand them, but these are really small. I don't think they're going to need the extra cooking. They should just cook in the same time as the batter does in the oven. Oh, I hope this pan's hot enough. I would have liked a bit more sizzle than that. You want really hot oil. Just going to put the sausages into this. It's going to go back into the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. The toad in the hole is nearly ready. I'm serving it with some frozen veg and some precious bisto. I'm just boiling the kettle to put into this. This is one of the things that I get sent from the UK quite often. I never went through that much when we were back in the UK, but I would often be baking a joint and have like meat juices to make my own gravy. But here I don't do such big bits of meat, and I find I use it a lot, so especially in the winter. Okay, that's puffed up well. I'm happy with that. If I can just lift this up, you can see it's cooked all the way through. But okay, so this is it all plated up, ready to go. It is all cooked inside, but it's quite dense. I would use a little bit less batter in there next time. And I'm just going to put some gravy onto this. So that's our toad in the hole for pancake day. Tonight for dinner we are having udon. This is curry udon. I've just put the noodles in. They don't take very long. And it's also got leeks and carrots in there, and then some thin slices of pork. That's not a slice of pork, that's a slice of leek. Some thin slices of pork. I'm going to serve these up into bowls, and I added into it some milk, so it was a bit milkier than creamier than the normal curry that we have. If we like this, then I'll definitely share the recipe in the future. And this is our curry udon ready to go. The bowls are very full. We could do with some really big like ramen udon bowls. I think that would be great.